Hey guys, good afternoon. Jason Klink here from JJK Professional Services. I wanted to discuss the importance as a leader of an organization. It could be a company, it could be a business, could be an organization. The importance of leaving the place better than you found it. What do I mean by that? When you take charge of an organization, doesn't matter what type, you take the reins. Your plan to go through your tenure is to ultimately leave the organization, leave the place better than you found it. You should always be looking for ways to make improvements, both for yourself, within yourself, and your team. I created a blog post today on this, and I wanted to do a subsequent video in order to highlight the points I was trying to make in the blog post. I've talked about before about, building legacy. Ultimately, the legacy you want to leave behind when your tenure's over as a leader of an organization. And in the same sense, also mentoring those leaders that will ultimately replace you. Being comfortable promoting and training and mentoring those people, those teammates within your organization that will ultimately replace you when your tenure is done. Part of this is making sure that every effort is made towards the betterment of the organization. You should always be thinking far enough ahead, always thinking 2 steps, 3 steps ahead within the organization in order to plan for a future that's better for everyone. This is always accomplished by identifying any negatives, correcting them, coming up with solutions, and promptly highlighting all the positives and giving credit where credit is due, not only for the leaders within the organization, but for the individual teammates as well. A leader should be taking constant measurements of the performance of not only the organization, but the team and the teammates. Are there places where you could provide, as a leader, could you provide better resources? Because remember, the failures and the successes of any organization are 100% on the number one leader within any organization. So are there ways for you to provide better resources to your leadership team and your team in general? Are there positions that you can create within the system, within the organization, that will ultimately make a more definitive chain of command and but typically give that sense of more accountability depending on how you break down your positions within your organization. Many times simply creating a committee. Creating a committee that is tasked with finding a solution to a problem or creating an initiative that will progress the organization forward. So you create a committee, and then you can take a non-leadership teammate and put them in a leadership position within that committee and give them a sense of ownership in order to make that committee successful in either solving a problem or making plans for the future. You should always be promoting success within the organization, but never your personal success. You can leave the personal success to other people to acknowledge, but you should be promoting the success of each and every teammate within the organization. If you're leading an organization, your motives should be to promote the success of the entire organization and should focus on the activities of the team itself in its entirety. It should never be about the sum of your success, patting yourself on the back. I know, just to give an example too, is, when I was fire chief, I'm running a fire department. It had 30 to 40 firefighters that I was responsible for at any given time. And, it was necessary for me to always identify ways where we can improve and ways we could improve going forward in making plans for the future. We always had our short-term planning and our long-term planning. And for me, I had an opportunity to create other positions just to not only engage the members that I put in those positions, engage them in the day-to-day operations, but also make the operations more efficient, to have more accountability, and reduce the chances for any kind of failure. because failure in public safety, failure in the fire service always results in somebody getting hurt or killed. And that has to be the worst day in any fire chief's life. But taking people within your organization, with people that are on your team that maybe they're not fully engaged, maybe they're not fully engaged with the work, with the assignments. If you give them a position where they are ultimately responsible for the output and the overall results of that position, they tend to thrive. And if they don't thrive, then you can educate them, you can mentor them, and if worst case scenario, you have to replace them. But a lot of people, if you give them that position, you give them the reason to engage and to participate, they will in return, they will thrive, and they will provide you with the results that you're looking for. The concept of leaving, your organization, your place better than you found it requires a large amount of humility. You have to be humble. You have to transfer any, pats on the back, any acknowledgments onto your teammates, and always operate from a place of value. Bring your organization value, bring your teammates value on a day-to-day basis. If you're not bringing value to your team and your entire organization, you will not succeed at the goal of leaving the organization better than you found it. So that was, really the basis, the concept that I was trying to get across in the blog post I put on our website earlier today. And I think it to me, it strikes a chord with me. I have a deep sense of connection with that because of my previous work, because of being in leadership positions, training initiatives, budget initiatives, personnel initiatives, organizational initiatives. There should always be short-term and long-term planning. And these initiatives should have, planning that goes far beyond what you might typically be thinking about or looking at day to day. Don't have the blinders on, thinking that we're going to only take care of what's going on right here, right now, and we'll worry about the rest later. You have to take the entire globe. You have to think, shake it up and see what falls to the bottom and what stays at the top, and figure out where things can improve, what things are doing great, and overall making the organization better for years to come. Feel free to reach out to me and my consulting group at jjkprofessionalservices.com. We have a contact page on the webpage. We'll be happy to answer any questions you might have. If you find any value in this, please share it with anybody that you think might be interested. And with that, have a great day.